The No Nonsense Roundtable, a weekly radio show and podcast where host Dom Genova interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. And now, here's your host, Dom Genova.
Well, welcome to our next section about the Rochester Red Wings Baseball Club. And I happen to have the fellow who happens to be the Chief Innovation Officer for the Rochester Red Wings. And his name happens to be the same name as the fellow who saved baseball in Rochester years and years ago, Maury Silver, a very wonderfully community oriented fellow who has passed down that tradition over the years to his family and his family's family. And Maury Silver, it is an honor to have you on the show.
Well, Dom, so good to talk to you, and so fun to be on the eve of opening day. It feels like so excited to chat with you.
Well, yeah, and I said to Dan on the last segment, I mean, there's something he says that just depresses the heck out of me, and it's something that gives me great joy. And when he says in September, he says, "See you next April." Oh my God, it's just like what a downer that is, And then let's have some fun. That's exactly what you guys are all about. It's baseball, but it's also family and bonding and stuff. This we mentioned before this deal you have with ESNL. I am so happy for you guys and proud for you and thankful that you put that whole thing together. And tell me a little bit more about the story of that, how that came to be about.
Yeah, just a Rochester institution that, when we were going through some of these conversations along with the county, because this is a county owned facility, it just started to align that, a Rochester institution teaming up with another Rochester institution just made everyone feel pretty great and pretty proud of what we have in this community. And we've long time been partners with ESL, and now to have this on a little bit different of a scale just felt so natural. And when you're dealing with anyone and it feels natural, like this is more of a conversation than a transactional dealing. You feel good about that. So just really happy to further expand our partnership and obviously the county's partnership with such a formidable brand.
Well, and you're so right about that because there are certain organizations have a culture to them. Wegmans has a culture to it. You have a culture to it, and the word I use for it, and I use it with Dan's interview, is you're woven your way into the fabric of Rochester, and
Right.
it's very, very true. Now, one of the things when we were together having dinner a few weeks ago, you were talking about the improvements that have been made to the stadium and how important they were, and you happen to garner some improvements that are kind of exclusive to the Red Wings, right? I mean, things that you can offer your players and possibilities and whatever. Let's talk about those things.
Yeah, I think we're going into our 30th season, or we're coming up on our 30th season in this ballpark, which is, my entire lifetime. And, pretty amazing that, for 30 years, this ballpark has looked, it looks amazing. And I will give pretty much all the credit to the county of keeping this place in tip-top shape and understanding that fans don't want to come to a run-down looking ballpark. They want to come to a premier experience. And, I think that's, a large part thanks to the county and all the work that they've put in. Concrete doesn't hold up for 30 years very easily in this weather. So, there's a lot of work to be done. But, we've had some improvements that we've made that are fun, that are more about how people want to view the game and changing a little bit about some of our seating options or our experience options. So we've made some of those changes. We've also done a lot of, like I said, concrete repairs and some of the not so fun improvements, just because that's what needs to happen for a stadium to stay up to date. We've also, had to comply with some Major League Baseball facility
Hmm.
standards, and the county again was pivotal in understanding not only do we need to comply with these, but we need to make sure that we are a very attractive place for Major League Baseball teams to want to send their
Mhm.
players here. So, as kind of highlighted by some clubhouse improvements that have just made our clubhouse, I'll say probably one of the best in all of minor league baseball and can compete with some Major League Baseball clubhouses. But also in our performance center that we just constructed and finished up last year. This will be our second season going into being able to use the performance center. And that was very much something that we wanted to not only construct and comply with with all the major league facility standards, but make it something that players walked in and were able to say, "Wow, this
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
amazing," and
Yep.
make something that the Nationals could come in and say, "Wow." Rochester really has done an unbelievable job. So, we've kind of taken on a little bit extra of the I'll say burden there to make it something that we are just absolutely thrilled with being able to show off because that means
Mhm.
something for the
Yeah.
players and for the community and for our community to be proud of having that here. And Dom, I just have to say, it's been so fun during the off season. During the season, our players use the performance center obviously every day. During the
Mhm.
off season, that building could sit empty with no players there, right? All the players go home,
Mhm.
and something that we've been able to do this year is really make it accessible to youth players in the community.
Mhm.
And we've really done it with the understanding that we want to make baseball more accessible and make baseball data more accessible. So, for kids to be able to use this new technology, we really want them to be able to do it in their backyard, whether you live a
Mhm.
block away or you live an hour away. We want you to have that experience here. But then also to make baseball data more accessible. So we bring technology into that facility and make it accessible for these kids to use to understand if you don't play for the Yankees and you're not their third baseman, there's also a career path in the front office that you might be
Yeah.
interested in exploring. Tough to
Mhm.
do so if you don't have the experience or the
Yeah.
exposure to some of that data. So just something we're really proud to have done this offseason.
Yeah, I have that discussion with a lot of people, and specifically Jeff Tyzik, who's a principal pops conductor, as you know, of the RPO.
Sure.
And point yourself in a direction, not a destination, because you may not be able to be a big league ball player, but you can do something in the office. You can be part of the organization. You can do something that it inspires you and gives you a great joy. And maybe batting isn't your deal. So no, you got to get that experience somehow or other, and that's great. But this goes back to not to fawn over you guys because I just love you guys so much. But you do things the right way. It's the right way and the wrong way. The way you can save money, or the way you can spend a little bit more money and give somebody a better experience. And you guys care. I mean, it's absolutely positively sure that you care. I was talking about Dan about getting some free tickets and back when, and that's when my family and I got hooked on Rochester Red Wings baseball. And we're going to be doing the same thing now because now you're going to be the presenting sponsor of the No Nonsense Roundtable, which I'm really proud of because it's if there's something that Rochester has a culture of a culture of music performances. Of course, not everybody has a AAA baseball team, and no, and even if they do, they don't have a stadium like yours where you can go a little bit east of us and west of us, and you get a stadium that's built of cinder block. It's just like it's not the same, and it doesn't have the same feel that you guys have because of the history. Now let's talk about your grandfather there for just
Sure.
a second or two. So he saved baseball because baseball was going to go away, and then he got everybody together for the community baseball. Let's go like the minute and a half story of that. So for
Yeah.
people that don't know.
Yeah, the back in the day, so we're talking in the 50s, you know, back in those days, the major league affiliate used to own all of the minor league teams, right? And that's kind of how things went. And so the St. Louis Cardinals, our major league affiliate, owned our ball club. And it got to a point where they were going to sell they were going to sell our franchise, and the team was going to move out of Rochester, and we were going to lose our team. And my grandfather in 1957 launched a stock drive where people in the community bought shares of stock in the business, in the organization, and in the stadium to repurchase that team in order to keep it here. So 8,222 is one of our retired numbers, and that represents all the shareholders that bought stock in the team, and what was left to purchase the team that the shareholders didn't buy. My grandfather purchased, and that's how we became involved. And it is after all these years, it's amazing to hear all of the stories about buying stock, and I got this share from my father, and it's an amazing thing because I think we can all be a part of it, and we all feel a part of it. And we're just so lucky to have the support of the community then and now. And I think that is something that, every day it is what gets us up in the morning, and just drives us, because we are so lucky to be here. And it has certainly been a fun ride. So we're looking to have a lot of fun for the next 100 years plus. We want to make this a place that grandkids and grandkids can come to the ball game, because that was really important to my grandfather, that kids could grow up with baseball in Rochester, and a place for families to be able to get together. So it is we're very lucky, and I'm very lucky to be a part of this. So yeah.
Well, it shows it, I say sometimes people's souls show through on the outside, the soul of the Rochester Red Wings shows through on the outside. I'm going to have your mom on the show. I know she was too busy for this, but we'll catch up with her soon, because she certainly is a role model for anybody. Just a wonderful human being. So that culture of your dad, your grandfather, gets passed down, and it just ripples. It just ripples through it. Now, I was just I'm not really great with math, okay, but I just realized that Dan Mason has been with the place longer than you've been alive, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think he's entering his 37th year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
you were a little tiny baby, and
oh yeah.
He's
Well, I'm 28, so 37 is a few more years, but just as solid as ever, and as consistent as ever. And if you want to talk about a game where consistency matters, or talk about business where consistency matters, there's just no one like him. And to be able to say that he has been here for as long as he has is one of the things we're probably most proud of here.
Well, the thing is I call it I name it, it's the Don Alhart quality. Like nobody doesn't like Don Alhart. He's been around forever, and he's community minded, and what Don it's the Don Alhart thing. You're too young, so you have to be at least 35 to have that. But I'm sure you're the same guy. So. Well, anyway, thank you ever so much for coming on the show. Thank you for your love and support. I mean, I believe in you guys. We're going to be giving out tickets for every weekend from the No Nonsense Roundtable, so people can get. Some people may not be able to come to the game, or some people that have not been to a game, or they can't afford a game. They can get a couple of tickets. 4 tickets we'll give away, and experience the same thing that hooked us on the Red Wings, my family and I. So thank you ever so much,
Dom. Thanks so much, and really thanks to a big thanks to you for highlighting so many of the things that make our community so special. It's just you being able to shine that spotlight, I think is it is noble work. So
well, I appreciate that. Well, you guys hand in hand. I mean, when I could afford to do it, we were doing, when I had the car dealership, we were doing First Responders Day, and we gave away the tickets. If you remember, we didn't advertise the cars. I mean, it's here. You just have the tickets. So, yeah, you get it. Hopefully, you think that we get it too. And like I said, we love you dearly. So, we'll see you at the park.
Can't wait, Dom.
Thanks for listening. You can find our previous shows at nononsenseroundtable.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.